Hello, space explorers. Welcome back to Sci-Fi Space, the place where we dive into the most mind-blowing sci-fi stories in the universe. Before we starting today's wonderful story, take a second to check if you've subscribed. It's completely free, and it helps bring more sci-fi adventures straight to your feed. Imagine this, a room full of smug aliens laughing at humans, thinking we're just a bunch of primitive nobodies, until one marine steps in and flips the script. Today, we're diving into a wild tale where humanity's darkest tricks leave the galaxy shaking. What happens when they find out we've got rules for war, and why we need them? Trust me, you won't see the ending coming. So hit that play button, stick around, and let's blast off into this epic sci-fi ride together. The Nexus 7 space station hummed with activity, orbiting a neutron star that cast a faint glow over the peace conference chamber. Representatives from across the galaxy had gathered for what they assumed would be another dull evaluation of a newcomer species. Today's topic: humans. The room buzzed with alien chatter, chirps, hisses, and low rumbles as diplomats settled into their seats, ready to amuse themselves at humanity's expense. Ambassador Vaxon stood at the center, his translucent, liquid-like body shimmering as tendrils floated inside him. His voice, filtered through a translator, dripped with sarcasm. Let's move on to the humans, those clumsy bips who just figured out faster than light travel. Laughter erupted. Counselor Clyra, a feathered creature with sharp eyes, flapped her wings and chimed in, "Oh, yes. They still use physical projectiles for weapons. How adorable." Her crest puffed up with excitement. Ambassador Torin, a towering insectoid, clicked his mandibles in agreement. "And their nuclear energy? We used that to heat snacks millennia ago." The mockery spread like wildfire. Holographic screens flickered to life, displaying images of human ships, clunky, metal hulks compared to the sleek crystalline vessels of the Galactic Alliance. "Look at this." Clyra giggled, pointing at a recording of a human rocket launch. "They get so excited about leaving their little rock. It's like watching a hatchling take its first step." Torin tapped a claw on the table. "I hear they are proud of splitting atoms." "Splitting atoms? We mastered that before we invented chairs." The room roared again, a chorus of chittering and squawks. Vaxon waved a tendril, smirking through his translator. "They're harmless, really. A quaint species with their primitive toys. Should we even bother integrating them, or just keep them as a curiosity?" Clyra tilted her head. "I say let them join. It'll be entertaining to watch them stumble around with their outdated gadgets." Torin nodded. "Agreed. Maybe they'll show us their guns, those tubes that spit metal." What a riot. The aliens swapped stories about human achievements, each tale dripping with condescension, as if they were discussing a child's stick figure drawing. The laughter peaked when Clyra pulled up a hologram of a human tank. "They roll around in these. Can you imagine anything so slow?" Vaxon's tendrils wiggled with amusement. "Slow and loud. I bet they think it's intimidating." The room was a cacophony of ridicule, until the chamber door slid open with a sharp hiss. The noise died down as every eye turned toward the entrance. A human stepped in, his boots clacking against the metal floor with deliberate rhythm. He wore the crisp uniform of the United Earth Coalition, a dark jacket with insignia pinned to the chest. His name tag read, James Rodriguez, Military Liaison. The aliens stared, sizing him up. He was shorter than most of them, but something about his stride, calm, measured, purposeful, cut through the room's jovial air. His face carried a hint of a smile, not the polished grin of a diplomat, but the kind you'd see on someone holding a punchline they couldn't wait to deliver. Vaxon recovered first, his tendrils gesturing in a mock welcome. Ah, the human representative graces us with his presence. We were just discussing your species' charming technological feats, very impressive for your early stage. The sarcasm was thick, but James didn't flinch. He stopped at the central platform, hands clasped behind his back, and nodded. Thanks, Ambassador. It's always nice to hear our allies' thoughts on human progress. His tone was even, almost too casual, and that faint smile lingered. Clara fluttered closer, peering at him. You were in their military, yes. Tell us, what's it like playing with such old-fashioned weapons? The room leaned in, expecting another laugh. James tilted his head, his smile twitching wider. 15 years in the Marine Corps, 3 campaigns. But you know what's really interesting? He paused, scanning the faces around him. None of you have asked why we need so many rules about how we fight. The chatter faded. The air shifted. Whatever game they'd been playing, James Rodriguez had just changed the rules. James Rodriguez stood at the center of the Nexus 7 conference chamber, his boots planted firmly on the platform, hands resting lightly at his sides. The alien diplomats watched him, their earlier laughter still echoing in the air, though it was starting to thin out. Ambassador Vaxon's tendrils swayed lazily as he leaned forward, his voice oozing with fake warmth. Welcome, human. We were just admiring your species' little accomplishments. Quite the show for a civilization still figuring things out. The jab landed, and a few snickers rippled through the room. James didn't blink. He nodded, that same half-smile tugging at his lips. Appreciate it, Ambassador. Always good to know what our friends think of us. His tone was steady, almost too calm, like a guy chatting about the weather instead of facing a room full of smug extraterrestrials. Counselor Clara swooped down from her perch, her feathers ruffling with curiosity. You've fought in their wars, haven't you? Tell us, what's it like swinging around those clunky weapons of yours? She cocked her head, expecting a story she could giggle at. The room leaned in, ready for more ammo to fuel their mockery. Ambassador Torrin clicked his mandibles, adding, yes, do share. I hear your guns make loud noises and break easily. How do you even win fights with those relics? The insectoid's wings buzzed faintly, a smug little hum. Vaxon chimed in, and your ships? Metal boxes lumbering through space. We were saying earlier, our kids build better toys. The chamber erupted again, a mix of chirps and hisses, everyone feeding off the easy target. James let them have their moment. He shifted his weight, crossing his arms casually, and waited until the noise died down. Then he spoke, his voice cutting through the leftover chuckles. 15 years in the Marine Corps. Saw action in 3 big campaigns. Nasty stuff, but you know what's wild. He paused, his eyes flicking across the room, locking onto each diplomat for just a second. Not one of you has asked why we've got so many rules about how we fight wars. The shift was instant. The chittering stopped cold. Clara's wings froze mid-flap, and Torrin's mandibles twitched, like he wasn't sure he'd heard right. Vaxon's tendrils slowed, his translator spitting out a hesitant, rules. For war. The liquid alien tilted his head, confusion seeping into his tone. Why would a primitive species need rules for something so basic? It wasn't mockery anymore, just genuine puzzlement. The room went quiet, all eyes on James. He leaned against the edge of the platform, relaxed as ever, but there was something in his posture, something that made a few of the smaller diplomats shuffle back in their seats. Funny story, he said, his smile widening just a touch. It all started because we kept coming up with way too many ideas for killing each other. Had to draw a line somewhere, right? His words hung there, heavy and sharp, like a knife dropped on the table. Torin blinked his compound eyes, breaking the silence. Ideas for killing? What's that supposed to mean? His voice had lost its edge, replaced by a flicker of unease. Clara piped up, her feathers flattening slightly. You mean your weapons got creative? She sounded less amused now, more like she was fishing for reassurance. James shrugged, casual as anything. Oh, yeah. Creative's a nice way to put it. If you've got a few minutes, I can tell you why we had to ban some of our best tricks. It's a hell of a history lesson. The chamber was dead silent now. No laughter, no snarky comments, just a thick, uneasy tension. Vaxon's tendrils stiffened, his translator crackling faintly. Ban tricks? You banned your own weapons. His tone wavered, like he wasn't sure he wanted the answer. James nodded, his grin turning sharper, almost playful. Yup. Had to. Things got a little too messy otherwise. Want me to start with the basics, or skip to the stuff that made us rewrite the rulebook? Nobody answered right away. Clara's eyes darted to Torin, who shifted uncomfortably, his claws scraping the floor. Vaxon finally spoke, his voice quieter than before. What kind of mess are we talking about? James chuckled, a low, easy sound that somehow made the room feel smaller. Oh, man, where do I start? How about the time we figured out fire could do more than cook dinner? That's a fun one. He straightened up, hands in his pockets, and waited. The game had flipped, and they all knew it. James Rodriguez stood there, hands still in his pockets, that grin of his holding steady as he scanned the silent Nexus 7 chamber. The alien diplomat stared back, caught off guard by his last comment. He pulled out a small holographic device from his jacket, flicked it on, and a glowing image of a white-hot cloud burst into view. Let's kick things off with white phosphorus, he said, voice light, like he was sharing a fun fact over beers. We used it to light up battlefields. Problem was, it didn't just burn. It melted skin right off the bone. Pretty nasty, so we had to ban it. The room went still. Counselor Clara's feathers drooped, her sharp eyes widening. Melted skin, she whispered, like she couldn't process it. James nodded. Yup. Sticky stuff, too, clings like glue. Hard to put out once it starts. He swiped the hologram, pulling up a grainy video of bombs raining down on a city, explosions carpeting the ground. Then there's carpet bombing. Drop enough explosives to turn a whole area into rubble. No survivors, no questions. Worked great until we decided it was overkill. Ambassador Torin's mandibles clicked fast, his wings buzzing with agitation. Overkill, he snapped, his voice sharper than before. You wiped out everything and called it too much. James shrugged. Pretty much. We're practical like that. Oh, and don't get me started on biological weapons. One time, we cooked up a bug that ate flesh, tested it just to see what'd happen. Spoiler, it worked too well. He chuckled, but nobody joined him. The diplomats exchanged looks, their earlier smugness gone. Ambassador Vaxon's tendrils twitched, his translator spitting out a shaky, "You tested it?" James grinned wider. Sure did. Had to shut that program down fast, too messy even for us. He leaned forward, resting an elbow on the platform. That's the thing about humans. We don't just fight, we get creative. Too creative, sometimes. Torrens stepped up, trying to take back the room. He jabbed a claw at a control panel, and a sleek hologram of a crystalline warship flickered on, firing soft blue beams. Enough of this, he growled, his mandibles snapping. Our species evolved past your barbaric methods. Look at our weapons, precision energy pulses. They disable without destroying. Minimal harm, maximum efficiency. His wings flared, proud and defiant. James snorted, then covered it with a fake cough. Clara's head snapped toward him. Something funny, human, she asked, her voice tight. James waved a hand, shoulders shaking. No, no, go on. Tell me more about your minimal harm toys. Torrens' eyes narrowed, but he pressed on. Our ships can neutralize an enemy crew, temporary neural shock, no permanent damage. That's advancement. He pointed at the hologram as a ship's beam enveloped another vessel in gentle light. That's when James lost it. His laugh bounced off the chamber walls, loud and unrestrained. He doubled over, wiping his eyes as the aliens flinched. I'm sorry, he wheezed, but you're telling me you made your weapons weaker on purpose and think that's a flex. Torren froze, his claws curling. It's civilized, he hissed. Unlike your crude explosions. James straightened up, still grinning. Civilized, huh? Ever hear of a shotgun spread? One pull of the trigger, and it's like a wall of lead. Or how about a claymore mine? Pops open, sprays shrapnel in a perfect arc, shreds anything in front of it. The room got quieter, if that was even possible. Vaxon's tendrils turned a paler shade. Shrapnel, he muttered. James nodded, pulling up his own hologram, a diagram of a mine's blast pattern. Yeah, we engineered it to maximize the mess. But don't worry, we've moved on to cooler stuff. Like drone swarms, little robots that hunt targets on their own. Or sonic weapons. Ever feel your guts turn to jelly from a sound wave? We figured that out. Clara's crest flattened completely. Guts to jelly, she squeaked. James kept going, unfazed. Oh, and thermobaric bombs. Suck the air right out of a space, collapse your lungs with a vacuum. Neat trick, right? He swiped the hologram again, showing a blast that left nothing but dust. Torrens' wings stopped buzzing, his voice dropping. Your reports said your tech was basic. Early stage. James's grin turned downright wicked. Oh, man, you bought that? That's cute. We don't exactly advertise the good stuff. Torrens slammed a claw on the table. This is absurd. You can't expect us to believe, James cut him off, voice still casual. Believe what you want. Want to hear about the time we banned gas that peeled your skin off? World War I classic. Or maybe the flamethrowers, we kept those legal for a while, just had to say no civilians because, well, you can guess. He paused, letting it sink in. Point is, we've got a knack for this. Always have. Vaxon's tendrils were trembling now. You needed rules for all that. James nodded, like it was obvious. Had to. Without them, we'd have wiped ourselves out, or everyone else. Still, we kept finding loopholes. Like expanding bullets, regular ones weren't bloody enough, so we made them burst inside you. Banned those too, eventually. He tapped the hologram off, pocketing the device. Fun history, right? The chamber was a graveyard of silence. Torrens' bravado was gone, his claws scraping nervously. Clara looked like she might bolt. Vaxon finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. You're saying this is normal for your kind? James shrugged, that grin never fading. Normal? Nah. Just human. Want me to keep going? I've got stories that'd make your translators fry. He leaned back, waiting, while the aliens grappled with the monster they'd just woken up. James Rodriguez stood in the Nexus 7 chamber, his casual stance a stark contrast to the chaos brewing around him. The alien diplomats were on edge, their earlier confidence shattered by his tales of human ingenuity turned deadly. He swiped his holographic device again, and a massive tungsten rod appeared, hurtling through space. Check this out, rods from God, he said, grinning like a kid showing off a new toy. We dropped these from orbit. No explosives, just gravity doing the heavy lifting. One hit, and you've got a crater where a city used to be. Counselor Clyra shrieked, her wings flapping wildly. You're threatening us, she yelled, her voice piercing the stunned silence. This is a peace conference, and you're bragging about wiping out cities. Her feathers puffed up, trembling with outrage. James raised an eyebrow, unfazed. Threatening? Nah, just explaining. You wanted to know what we're about, right? But Clyra wasn't having it. She spun toward Ambassador Vaxon, jabbing a wing at him. He's a danger to the whole galaxy. We need to kick humans out, now. Vaxon's tendrils whipped around, his liquid form rippling with stress. Calm down, Clyra, he snapped, his translator crackling. Let's not overreact, but before he could finish, Ambassador Torrens staggered to his feet, his compound eyes flickering. Overreact, he roared, mandibles snapping. He's talking about dropping metal from space. What's next? Blowing up stars. His wings buzzed furiously, then stopped as he clutched the table, wobbling. With a groan, he collapsed, out cold. A gasp rippled through the room. James didn't miss a beat. Oh, come on, he's fine, he said, waving a hand. But since you asked, ever hear of antimatter? Tiny amount, big boom. We're still tinkering with it, but theoretically, 1 gram could level a continent. He winked, and that did it. The chamber erupted. Clyra screeched, theoretical? You're insane. Vaxon's tendrils lashed out, knocking over a console. This is an outrage, he bellowed. You're destabilizing everything we've built. His voice shook, half fury, half fear. James just grinned wider. Destabilizing? I'm just getting warmed up. Want to talk household stuff? One time, we turned toothpaste into a nerve agent. Accidentally, of course, Lab got a kick out of that one. He leaned forward, eyes glinting. Or how about earthquakes? We've got tech that pumps sound waves into fault lines. Shake things up a little. Fun, right? The room spun into chaos. A junior aide bolted to Vaxon, whispering frantically, clutching a data pad. Vaxon's tendrils paled as he read it. They've weaponized everything, he muttered. Even their medicine. Damn right, James said, nodding. Super glue. Started as a battlefield stitch. Sticks your guts back together, or someone else's shut. He chuckled, but the sound was drowned out by Clyra's scream. You're monsters, she cried, launching into the air, circling the platform. I'm calling for a vote, expel them now. Torrens stirred, groaning as he came to, just in time to hear her. No, he croaked, pulling himself up. Expel them, and what? They'll turn those rods on us. His claws scraped the floor, panic replacing his earlier bravado. Vaxon slammed a tendril down, silencing the room for a split second. Enough, he shouted. Rodriguez, you're pushing us to the brink. This isn't diplomacy, it's a damn threat. His translator whined, struggling to keep up. James shrugged, hands back in his pockets. Threat? I'm just being thorough. You asked about us, I'm delivering. Want to hear about the time we made silly string into a choke hazard? Lab prank gone wild. He smirked, and Clara dove at him, stopping short as aides grabbed her wings. Let me go, she snarled, thrashing. He's mocking us while he plans our doom. Torin, still shaky, pointed a trembling claw. He said their reports were fake. What else are they hiding? James tilted his head. Oh, plenty. Like how we turned weather drones into targeting systems. Rain forecasts and missile strikes, 2 for 1. The aide with the data pad yelped, dropping it as it blared an alert. Human tech analysis update, dual use potential detected in all sectors. Vaxon's tendrils went limp. You weaponize, weather, he rasped. James nodded, all casual. Sure. Give us anything, a paper clip, a soda can, and we'll make it go boom. It's kind of our thing. Clara broke free, hovering over the platform, her voice shrill. I'm done. I'm drafting an emergency motion, quarantine their planet. Torin grabbed her wing, yanking her down. Are you nuts? He hissed. Quarantine them, and they'll retaliate. Did you hear the part about continents exploding? The argument exploded into a shouting match. Vaxon yelled at Clara to sit, Torin accused her of dooming them all, and half the room started jabbering in their native tongues, translators failing to keep up. James watched, arms crossed, that grin still plastered on his face. You guys are fun, he called over the noise. Want to hear about our microwave experiments? Popcorn and organ damage, same tech. A second aide fainted, hitting the floor with a thud. Vaxon spun on him, tendrils flailing. Stop. Just stop. You're turning this into a circus. James raised his hands, mock surrender. Hey, I'm just a messenger. You wanted the truth, you got it. Should I skip to the part where we banned blinding lasers? Party trick gone wrong. The chamber was a mess, shouting, fainting aides, and a growing sense that they'd underestimated humanity big time. James stood in the middle of it all, calm as ever, while the aliens fell apart around him. The Nexus 7 chamber was a wreck, shouting still echoed off the walls, aides scurried to revive their fainted colleagues, and the air buzzed with frayed nerves. James Rodriguez stood at the center, hands back in his pockets, watching the mess unfold with that same infuriating grin. Ambassador Vaxon finally raised his tendrils, slamming them down on the console with a wet smack. Enough, he barked, his translator straining. Everyone, shut it, now. The room froze, Clara hovering mid-rant, Torin's claws mid-gesture, all eyes snapping to Vaxon. He took a shaky breath, his liquid form trembling. We can't keep losing it like this, he said, voice low but firm. Rodriguez has made his point. We need to figure out what the hell we're doing about humans. His tendrils drooped, exhaustion replacing his earlier fury. Clara landed hard, her feathers flat against her body. What's there to figure out? She snapped. They're a threat. Quarantine them, lock their planet down before they drop those damn rods on us. Torin, still pale from his collapse, shot her a glare. Quarantine, he growled, mandibles clicking. You heard him, they've got tricks we can't even dream up. You think they'd just sit there and take it? We'd be begging for a fight. His wings twitched, betraying his nerves. Clyra spun on him, beak inches from his face. So what? We roll over. Let them walk all over us because they're crazy. Torrens shoved her back, his voice rising. I'm saying we don't poke the damn bear, Clyra. You want to die over this? Vaxon waved them down, his tendrils slashing the air. Stop bickering. We're not quarantining anybody, not yet. But we can't ignore this either. He turned to James, eyes narrowing through his translucent skull. Rodriguez, you've got us scrambling. What's your play here? Scare us into submission. James shrugged, casual as ever. No play, Ambassador. Just laying out the facts. You wanted to know us, I'm showing you. Up to you what you do with it. Clyra huffed, crossing her wings. Facts? You've been dangling disasters over our heads like a damn bully. James tilted his head, grin softening. Bully? Nah. If I wanted to bully you, I'd have brought the real files. Not the watered-down stuff we've been feeding you. The room went dead quiet again. Torrens' claws scraped the table. Watered down, he rasped. You mean those reports, the ones we've been laughing at, aren't even true? James nodded, like it was no big deal. Oh, yeah. We keep the good stuff under wraps. Makes negotiations easier when folks underestimate us. Vaxon's tendrils turned a sickly gray. So what is your real capability? He demanded, voice tight. James chuckled, leaning back. If I told you everything, you'd never sleep again. Let's just say we're real good at keeping options open. Peaceful options, mostly, unless someone pushes us. He let that hang, watching their faces twist with dread. Clyra muttered, monsters, under her breath, but didn't push it. Torren rubbed his mandibles, thinking hard. Options, he said slowly. You're saying we've got a choice here? Bingo, James replied, pointing at him. Play nice, and we're all buddies. Get cute, and, well, you've heard the highlights. Vaxon straightened up, forcing some steel back into his tone. Fine. We'll update your status, extreme hazard. No quarantine, but no more underestimating either. Motion to approve all reasonable human requests, effective immediately. Agreed. He glanced around, daring anyone to argue. Clyra bristled. All requests? You're caving. Torren cut her off, voice low. It's not caving, it's surviving. I'd rather kiss their boots than see what's behind door number 2. She glared but didn't fight back, slumping into her seat. Vaxon nodded, tapping the console. Motion passes. Humans get trade access, resource rights, the works. Let's keep this civil. His tendrils twitched, like he wasn't convinced it'd work. James gave a mock salute. Appreciate it, folks. You're making the smart call. He turned to leave, boots clicking on the floor, but paused at the edge of the platform. Oh, one last thing, I left a little something on the table. Call it a parting gift. He winked and walked out, leaving the diplomat staring at a small, blinking device where he'd stood. Clyra flinched. Is that a bomb? She hissed. Vaxon's tendrils coiled. Rodriguez, he shouted, but James was already gone, the door sliding shut behind him. The room held its breath, waiting for the next shoe to drop. 3 days after the Nexus 7 chamber meltdown, now dubbed the Rodriguez incident by shaken aides, the Galactic Alliance reconvened in a smaller, heavily guarded room. The air was thick with tension, the diplomats' usual swagger replaced by jittery glances and hushed whispers. Ambassador Vaxon stood at the head of the table, his tendrils still pale, clutching a data pad. "We're here to finalize humanity's new status," he said, voice steady but strained. "Based on recent events, we've got some updates." He tapped the pad, and a hologram flickered on. "Humanity, threat level extreme. Advisory, grant all reasonable demands. Note, they've weaponized toothpaste." Counselor Clyra, her feathers still ruffled, muttered, "Toothpaste. Unbelievable." Ambassador Torin, nursing a bruised ego from his fainting spell, clicked his mandibles. "Better than rods from space," he grumbled. "Let's just sign off and move on." Vaxon nodded, swiping the hologram. "Agreed. Motions approved. Humans get full trade rights, no pushback. We're not risking another stunt like that." The room murmured assent, a mix of relief and dread settling in. Then it happened. The small device James had left on the conference table, the one they'd all eyed like a live grenade, blinked faster, emitting a low hum. Clyra jumped, wings flaring. "It's a bomb," she yelped, diving behind Torin. Vaxon's tendrils shot up, shielding his face. "Rodriguez, you bastard," he shouted, as if James could hear him. Torin froze, claws out, braced for the worst. The hum grew louder, the light pulsing red, then stopped. No explosion. Instead, a calm, recorded voice crackled through the room. "Hey, folks, this is Earth Command. Hope you're enjoying the show." The diplomats blinked, stunned. Clyra peeked out, trembling. "Earth Command," she whispered. The voice, James's, unmistakably, continued, smooth and smug. "Here's the deal, we've been watching you longer than you think. Those fancy crystal ships of yours? We've got the blueprints. Torin, your secret weapon stash on Nebula 4? Logged it. Clyra, that coup you're planning against Vaxon? Yeah, we've got the comms. We've been in your systems, your stations, your little alliance, for years. Play nice, and we stay friends. Cross us, and we flip the switch. Your move." The message cut off, leaving dead silence. Vaxon's tendrils dropped, his liquid form sloshing. "In our systems," he croaked. Torin's eyes bulged. "They know about Nebula 4, he hissed, spinning on Clyra. "And you're plotting a coup?" She squawked, flustered. "That's not, how dare they," Vaxon cut in, voice rising. "Forget that. They've infiltrated us. How long have they been here?" The room dissolved into chaos again, accusations flying as the realization hit. Humans weren't just dangerous, they were already inside the walls. Meanwhile, James Rodriguez lounged in a shuttle heading back to Earth, feet up on the console. He flicked on his communicator, grinning as the general's gruff voice came through. "Rodriguez, report." James stretched, casual as ever. "Mission's a wrap, sir. They bumped us up to extreme threat, handed over trade routes, the whole deal. Didn't even need to pull out the big guns, just spooked them with a toothpaste bit." The general grunted. "Good. What about that device?" James laughed. "Oh, the fake bomb? Left them a little hello from Earth Command. Told them we've been cozying up in their backyard. They are probably losing their minds right now." A pause, then the general's voice hardened. "You sure that was smart?" Could have just taken the win. James's grin turned sharp. Had to keep em guessing, sir. Besides, it's true, we've got eyes everywhere. Next meeting, I'll drop the plastic spoon story. Really mess with them. The general sighed. Fine. Just don't start a war. Yet. James clicked off, whistling an old tune, Sweet Home Alabama, as the shuttle hummed through space. Back at Nexus 7, the hologram updated one last time. Emergency protocol: if humans turn hostile, hide. Pray they don't notice. P.S. Don't ask about the spoon. Vaxon stared at it, tendrils limp. We're screwed, he muttered. Clyra nodded, for once agreeing. The galaxy had a new player, and it'd been dealing the cards all along. And there you have it, folks. Humans go from punchline to galactic nightmare, with a twist that's got the aliens sweating. What do you think? Are we the ultimate wild card in the universe, or just really good at bluffing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I wanna hear your wildest theories. If you love this ride, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next Sci-Fi Space drop. We've got more insane stories coming your way. See you in the cosmos, explorers.